beat.
Total Spoon to get your information. Total Spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjema, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, congratulate my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you about today?
Spoon TV.
Yes, what you about today?
Spoon TV.
Yo, stand coming with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Man. Charge James on the beat.
Total Spoon to get your information. Total Spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon television. Spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon, you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to.
Brain Vesely once said, and I quote, opportunity always knocking. It's always knocking. The problem is that most people have self-doubt stationed in their minds and their heads that is turned so loud to hear it.
You want to
One-on-one with the CEO is on. Tell a friend to tell a friend that indeed it's time to talk. The talk as we walk the walk. My name is Rufus Divine Conan, the sound coordinator for tonight's presentation. James Goodeflomo is on the other end. The CEO shortly be joining, and together it's going to be a wonderful interaction with the guests. Before much I do, I love to say good evening, James, from my end.
Good evening, Rufus, and good evening, Liberia.
How are you?
Well, God manning me, everything's still okay, and he's in charge.
He's always in the business of doing that, James.
Oh yeah. Oh, the CEO is back.
The cream is back.
Nah. Yo, I just from church, man. How you guys doing?
Well, grateful as always.
Yeah, we are grateful to God, man. You know how it is. We are blessed to be among the living. Just got back from church. Wonderful service. You guys know Pastor Raymond.
Cotison.
He was powerful today, man. He was powerful.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. The Redeemer Lutheran Church, South Broad, Trenton, New Jersey. He was powerful, man. A wonderful service. We are blessed, And today the Dallas Cowboys playing. I think they're up by 3 points. Keeping my finger crossed. I hope they win.
Different church.
So that football, man, American football. Keeping my finger crossed. I hope they win because he been out since the first game. He just got back,
Okay.
and 4-2. I hope they can. Eagles doing better, but I hope Dallas can come back strong this game. After the show, I hope to meet the game on to continue watching. But we are blessed to have Mr. Victor A. Hogstrom, President and CEO PBS Cancer Public Television. When I was researching, I said, wow, I didn't know we had a Liberian in the television media, business in America. I thought it was only Costa and Stanton. I didn't know we have people higher than us, bigger than us. People I work with that have so many TV channel network. Folks, you're going to have a wonderful time today. We are bringing you Liberia on. Public radio here, public television in America is a big thing, I didn't know Mr. Hogstrom was part of this whole media institution here in America. And thank God for Mr. Jackson. He introduced me by way of telephone. I spoke to Mr. Victor Hogstrom, and I tell you the truth, you'll be surprised. You will be surprised that Liberia have somebody bigger than us.
It's very big.
Liberia is blessed, though. Liberia is blessed. To tell you the truth, James, we are blessed. Do not turn your back on being a Liberian. We are blessed. We just got to commit and trust God and be faithful and truthful to what we believe in. So we're gonna have some very interesting conversation tonight. 1 hour 30 minutes. We're gonna know who Mr. Hogstrom is. I believe he's in Liberia. He's in the studio right now. So Rufus, who are we? We tried a little thing, spoon that word. You guys go out, but look, he's in our studio. That's a blessing.
Yeah, and when I was
I'm
reading
so
about them,
privileged.
I checked.
Go ahead, Rufus.
Right.
I'm so privileged to have him face to face, and it's going to be a point of learning more, most especially when it comes to television. He's vast in that field, and I started to go through some of his past tips. I'm seeing great people he has interviewed, and it's just another time of learning for me. So it's a privilege. I must appreciate you for affording us the opportunity as well to showcase what we are made of and to learn more, to be better, and do what they are doing or started doing so that we step in that point where
Seriously.
they are facing off, they are reaching retirement age and they need the replacer. So who are those to replace them in a positive direction? So we're going to learn from them and then we fit in to do what they started on doing.
Imagine, James is in Europe right now. James is doing exactly. I pray to God that one day every one of you have the opportunity to learn the Western part of journalism, media. Something we never dream about. But yeah, we are. Let's bring in Mr. Huckstrom. Let's sit back and relax, and he will tell us more about what he brings to Liberia. As a Liberian, who is he? I'm glad to have him as our guest. This is 101 with the CEO, and we have Mr. Victor A. Hockstrom. Welcome to 101 Spoon Network with the CEO. We're glad to have you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Evening at your end, afternoon at my end.
Thank you. It is a pleasure, and I must say you guys are very flattering. Thank you. You're very warm. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
You're quite welcome. And again, we want to say we are blessed to have you. You're in Liberia. You at the Spawn Network compound. We want to say, folks, actually, never heard of you, have not seen you before. They'd like to know who is Mr. Victor A. Huckstrom. Can you do us a favor, introduce yourself, and speak to the Liberian folks out there?
All right. Thank you. Well, I was born and raised in Liberia. Monrovia, born at the maternity center, raised here, graduated from the Lotcary Baptist Mission School in Burrillville, worked for ELBC TV for about a year and a half, served as sports and athletics director of St. Teresa's Convent, and general secretary of the National Student Christian Council of Liberia. I haven't heard about that organization anymore, but it was there once upon a time. And I had all three jobs at the same time. But you see, when I was on Lotcary, I learned leadership skills. I developed leadership skills because I served as superintendent of the Sunday school. I was coach of the girls' kickball and volleyball teams for 4 years. I sang in the choir. I directed the choir under the mentorship of a Peace Corps named Greg Flynn. I formed a singing group called the Lotcary Messengers. I played on the basketball team, the volleyball team. I played for the University of Liberia's volleyball team. I played for the Liberian Olympic volleyball team. When I tell people that in the States, they say, "Really? Olympic team?" Yep, I did. But we didn't get too far. Our aspirations ended right there in Ghana when we went to play against the Ivory Coast, and they really cleaned our clock. Okay, so that ended us. But actually, with all of those leadership responsibilities, and I was born in the country seeing Black people in charge. And you know what that means, especially when you live in the United States. I saw a Black president, a Black secretary of state, now called ministers. I saw Black leaders. And so I knew within myself that I could become whatever I wanted to become, no matter where I went. Because that perception and perspective were ingrained in me. And so nothing could change my mind when it came to me wanting to be what I wanted. Interestingly, when I was leaving Providence Baptist Church my last Sunday there as a member, I was saying to a friend of mine that I was going to college to become an engineer, a civil engineer. My father was an engineer who worked for LMC. My mother was from the Kru tribe in Liberia, as they say, civilized Kru. And so as I was leaving church that Sunday, a lady by the name of Mrs. Emma Jane Collins, she worked for the USIS office at the time, and I didn't know it. I hardly knew the woman. I think I had just turned about 15 or 16. And I said to my friend I was leaving to become an engineer. Well, as I was about to walk out the church door, I felt this tap on my shoulder, and I turned around. It was Mrs. Collins. She said, "I would like to talk to you." And I said, "Okay." I thought she meant right there. She said, "No, come to my office tomorrow morning." "Oh, where is your office?" She directed me. I met her in her office, and she said to me something that I didn't take very seriously at the time. She said, "I've been observing you in this city. I've been observing you in this church, and you look more cut out. I heard you say you were going to college, leaving for college to become an engineer. But I heard you, I want to let you know that my observations place you as a leader and a diplomat." And I said, "Oh, thank you, but I want to be an engineer." I blew it off. And so that following Wednesday, I caught my flight to New York, and my connecting flight to Provo, Utah at Brigham Young University, BYU, the renowned. And I was there 2 weeks early. The first day of registration, I was walking toward the registration building and the engineering building, and the whole conversation came back to me. That thing hit me like a brick in the forehead. I stopped and I said, God, send that woman to me, and I better listen. I changed my direction. She said, engineer. No, she said, diplomat and leader. And I was thinking, engineer. I went to the administration building, not even knowing at all they had a major in international relations, nor political science. And I inquired, and my first major was international relations. Then I minored mass communications. And I enjoyed it so much because my first week on campus with my little experience from ELBC at the time, that experience got me a job working for KBYU Television. That's the television station of Brigham Young University. I became an associate producer, but they put me through the ringers before they hired me. They wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about and doing. And so I became a major in international relations, mass communications with a minor, and went back to school for one more semester. And because I took so many classes in mass communications and I enjoyed it so well, that I took the last 15 credit hours required for a second degree. And I did that. Then I did a master's in mass communications with a minor in political science. And so Mrs. Collins changed my life. I have not regretted it, not 1 minute. When I made that decision, things have been smooth sailing for me in the United States. In terms of my career, yes, there have been some problems. You know what I mean? Some racism, but as people stab you in the back, you pull the knife out and you say, try again, buddy. Because if you keep yourself clean, you have nothing to worry about. So that is my little story in a nutshell, unless you like to ask follow-up questions to have me expand.
It's interesting. It's interesting because going back to read about on social media, on the internet, 1973. You telling us about the story in Utah. I followed through with that story in 1973, KBYU TV and FM. But coming to this new generation of social media, new generation of mass communication, journalism, how do you fit in? How well you fit in? How did you transition to the new wave?
I started off as a reporter. When I was getting my master's degree, the president of KSL in Salt Lake City, the CBS station, was attending the graduation of his daughter, who was getting her bachelor's degree. And he saw me. He came up to me and said to me, I've been watching you on KBYU TV. I'd like to talk to you. Will you come by the station? And I said, sure. I did. He hired me in the news department. I was a reporter. And I realized that I believed in myself that I could do better than being a reporter. Yes, reporting was fun. I enjoyed it. That's what I did at KBYU. But I was a student. I really decided to take another job because I felt that with a master's degree, I could do better. So I became news director in Pensacola, Florida, at WSRE TV. And then at that station became its assistant general manager because they liked my work as news director. And from there, I took off as president to 6 other public media companies in the country. And that's how it all started. from KSL, from KBYU to KSL in Salt Lake City, and now in Wichita, Kansas, the air capital of the world.
So right now you're president of Harmony Network.
Well, we operate 4 stations, television channels at PBS Kansas. I have served as president and CEO of 5 other media companies, and I'll tell you this: I don't look for companies that are doing well because I'm not a paper shuffler. I am a progressive leader. I am determined to get results, and I'm results oriented. And so I look for stations that are virtually struggling and turn them around dramatically. Let's begin with my first presidency in Rockford, Illinois. I was written about all over the world. I don't know why you all people in Liberia have not heard about me, but I've been written about all over the world, nationally in the United States, locally, regionally. And so that station was WPTI TV in Rockford, Illinois. I built the station from ground up and ran it for 2 years and left them with a profit, which was amazing. You know, when you put in a new company, show a profit after your first 2 years of operations is unheard of, but it happened. And then I went to Redding, California, and this station was operating out of a meat locker building. A meat locker is where when you kill a cow, you skin it, you hang it up in the freezer, and you skin it up and cut it up and package it for sale. That freezer door was still there. The studio was about the size of the television studio was the size about this radio studio right now. But I turned it around, build its support, its viewership, and its income, and got them into a brand new building on North Market Street in Redding, California, a building that the newspaper editorial described as a miracle on North Market Street, because it was on North Market Street. They described it as a miracle. Then from there, I moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee. They were hidden behind the campus of a college, struggling in debt, deficit of $1 million. That was turned around, left them with a 32,000 square foot facility, state of the art. And I was there, that station, Redding, I was there for 8 years, Chattanooga about 15 years, and then Kansas City snatched me away. You know, money talks, right? When you can pay me, I'll be there for you, and I'll work hard for you. So the city of Kansas City's station called me up and offered me a job as its president. I did that, and they were in debt to the tune of $7.2 million and borrowing from the bank every month to meet payroll and operational cost. Well, my first 4 months, I stopped the loans from the bank. I said, no more loans. We don't need those anymore. We'll turn this ship around. And then at the end of my first fiscal year, we had a profit of $1,127,000. That was a quick turnaround. But here's the good part. The deal was I would get 10% of the profits. So the profit was $1,127,000, right? What did I do? I decided to have the station keep it. Keep the bonus of 10%, because for me, it was not about money. It was about achieving a goal. Achieving goals, that's what I'm all about. I enjoy that. I enjoy measurable results. And so the chairman of the board of directors said, wow, you're taking one for the team. I said, yes, I am. And I surely did. But then after that, the profits became $3-4 million and $5 million. And voila, I took those. I didn't give them back. So from Kansas City, then the state of Utah invited me to head up their radio network. And I said, oh, it's a good opportunity. I haven't done much radio other than when I worked at KBYU FM and TV and ELBC. So I said, I'll do it. I headed up that radio network in Utah and did some wonderful things for them too. Established more transmitters, constructed more, established Utah's only radio network 6 p.m. newscast with correspondents that we had hired all over the state. And people were tuning in and watching it and listening to it and enjoying it. And then Wichita called me. So you've have had 6 of them now. Wichita called me, and I've been there about 6 years in Wichita. This one was totally ridiculous when I got there. They were operating out of a former tire store. And when I walked into that building for my first time, Stanton, I almost said, no, thank you. Not again. But then I paused and said, that's part of the challenge. I love challenges. And so got to work. They were owing the state some money. They were owing the bank some money. Paid those off. Began making a profit. And boy, you could see the relaxation on the part of the board of directors because they were worried the station was going out of business. And that's what I was told by the auditing firm as well as the acting president of the station. And today, I'm proud to say we are well on our way to great success. We have a brand new facility, state of the art, 31,000 square foot building. In addition to that, we're now converting over to ATSC 3.0. That's the new next gen television, it's called. Next generation TV, ATSC 3.0. And with this new broadcasting format, we'll be able to gather data from the viewership when they're watching. We offer 4 channels, as I said. And so what channel you're watching the most, what programs you're watching, and what age group, what part of town is watching the most, or what part of the state is watching, and all of that. That's what ATSC 3.0 will do for us. And so I'm still in Wichita and decided to take a break to come home because I hadn't been back here since 2016.
Man, that's a lot. That's just a lot to cover. But we are grateful. The issue with today's network, today's broadcasting, radio, TV, print media, Liberia as you see it right now, we can say this is America. Land of opportunity, you know that. Say hi to you, you say hi to me, you help me and I help you. How do you look at journalism, media outlet in Liberia? I know we were talking about your program, the 101 on PBS. We want to talk about PBS and everything you do here, but how do you look at print media, social media, media outlets in the country, Liberia as a whole?
Right, all right. And I think it's a very good question, and I appreciate that question because I think our Liberian broadcasters tend to forget that the purpose of broadcasting is to educate, inform, entertain, and to make some money in the process. It's not to tear a passion to tatters, to very rags. And as Hamlet's speech to the players goes, when before Hamlet went on stage in Shakespeare, he said, "Speak this speech, I pray you, as I pronounce it to you trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it as many of your players do, I'll have as leave the town crier said my lines." I think our broadcasters mouth it too much. Let's look at the educational value of broadcasting. Broadcasters are also teachers. Don't forget that. All right? Don't forget that. It's very important to remember. It's easy to spin a record and talk over it and say a bunch of stuff and to mouth stuff and tear a passion to tatters. But we are educators. That's why I served, before I went to Wichita, I was director of sales development for another CBS station. And I decided this is not what I want. These people are all about just the money. What about the value? So you educate by what you say and do as broadcasters. Pronunciation of your words, construction of your sentences, delivery. We labor too much in our presentation. I mean, some of us can't even, I've listened to the radio. There's no training. But I remember when I came here in 2013, I suggested to a certain radio station that I would be delighted to conduct a broadcast seminar because I've taught college. I forgot to mention that. At the adjunct level, I taught at California State, and I've taught telecommunications management, and I've taught at Pensacola College, television production, broadcast announcing, introduction to broadcasting, and the list goes on, all adjunct as I was working full time. So I suggested let's do a broadcast announcing seminar. And the response I got through the grapevine was, the man said he wanted to come and teach you how to talk in the microphone. I said, oh, really? Okay. I forgot about it. I left it alone because they missed the message. You see, communication is an art which requires skills. And if you can't or don't have the skills to communicate, don't try it because you're going to destroy the message. You have to construct the message effectively enough so that the receiver of the message will be able to interpret it because you are the best sender of your message. Nobody else can send your message better than you because you know what the meaning of your message is. And if you don't send it effectively, the receiver will not receive it and interpret it. So the decoding and encoding processes must work well. And of course, the skills of communication must be implied and applied to the process. So remember, we are all teachers. Pronunciation, sentence construction, because if you were to, any broadcaster were to mispronounce a word, which they often do, the listener would think it is the correct way to say it because he or she is listening to you. And that is not correct. Therefore, for instance, I hear people call our country Liberia. It is not Liberia, it is Liberia, from the word liberty. We all know that or should know that. So, teaching in broadcasting should be emphasized. We can do it in how to ways, how to do this and how to do that, how to grow a good garden, gardening tips, and there are ways to make money from those things too. Cooking the best palm butter, who can palm butter contest, a community event that the station a station could be involved in, who could cook the best cassava leaf, who could cook the best whatever, to bake the best cakes. These are shows that are on television all over the world. And we can do that on television in this country. But for radio, gardening tips, because television is a visual medium, as we know. And so we need to remember the educational value of what we do, whether it's radio or television or both. Now, when it comes to entertaining, there are so many types of entertainment out there that, I mean, the sky's the limit. But let it be quality entertainment. Let it be meaningful entertainment, not junk. because you fill the minds with junk, the kids' minds with junk, and what do you get? You get junk out of them. You put in junk, you get out junk. That's what happens in the world. Same thing with entertainment and education, and now with information. Let's always remember to have balanced reporting. Check your sources at all times. Double check your sources, but protect your sources because they are very important in this world that we live in this business. Because you see, broadcasting is so glamorous. I'm so happy I didn't become an engineer. You know, people see me. I have degrees in international relations and mass and political science, but I haven't used them. I look forward to using them one day soon, I hope. But this is a glamorous field we're in. People look up to us. They depend upon us for the results, for honesty, for integrity, and we must maintain our integrity as broadcasters. We must always have people respect us. Now, on the other hand, there's this pay to play mentality that some of our broadcasters carry out and media carry out in this country. The pay to play mentality must be stopped. I know that there are not too many businesses that have the funds to advertise. And the people who want to put their personal messages on don't have your reporters or your staff, your team members associate themselves with those paid for commercials or paid for messages. I listened to the radio the other day and I heard a certain company, a representative of a certain company being interviewed by a personality of a radio station. And it's not Spoon, I tell you that. It's another station. As though it was a factual news, regular interview. You know, they paid for it. And so the way to do it simply, keep your personalities away from those things. Let them become credible, believable, and honest workers. But put a disclaimer at the beginning of an interview and let someone else do the interview that is not associated with the station. Put a disclaimer at the beginning of the interview. Say, this program is a paid for interview by XYZ company. The views of this program are not necessarily the views of this station. That way you disassociate yourself from that and you don't have your employees involved with it, and they remain credible, trusted, believable, and you have a very, very popular team. Because you see, people look for credible personalities in broadcasting. That's why personalities in the United States make millions. Millions. And if there's some issue, you know how that works, Stanton. They fire them if they were caught in a lie about something. They get rid of them right away. Because the matter of trusting, credibility, believability are very key in this business. So, you know, there is it. We need to refrain from pay to play in Liberia. We need to work harder and get commercials. There are ways to do them. Presenting ideas to people, to businesses out there. And they will say, oh, I like that. I do it all the time. People you thought would never want to be on television in terms of running a spot, you present them with ideas. And they come aboard, and we all go smiling to the bank, and they're happy too. They're happy campers. So there's so many ways to really achieve the goals rather than selling the soul of the station.
It's Liberia different because of where we find ourselves as a country. And listen, folks, listen to you right now. It is amazing, but internet problem, resources, electricity, all these things comes into play with your network in Liberia, they sponsor a lot of money on fuel, internet tripping. You know, you get the best. They say, go to Orange, go to Lone Star, pay $2,000 a month. They will give you 3G, 4G, 7G. None of those things working. How you look at coming from the resources end, maybe somebody going to pay that money, connecting this with business wise, telling Abijali Supermarket, I'm going to run your promo maybe for a month, pay this amount of money. But the problem with the country to break through, to get even, because this is business. How can you help us tonight explain further, not from the America setting, but from Liberia as a whole, a very poor country, and you want that breakthrough? You want to give information, but you do not want to be in the negative financially.
I understand. I surely understand, but this is a thing you have to be cautious about. You cannot sell your soul for money. You cannot sell your professionalism for money. You cannot sell your integrity for money. I do a program called One on One with Victor Hawkstrom every week.
All right.
Do you think I would ever charge one of my guests to come on? No, that's not the idea. The idea is it's a stations program and we feature these people and the results come later. You are opening doors. You're building friendships. You're reaching out. You're marketing. That show I do is a marketing tool for my station. But people seem to enjoy. The ratings are pretty decent. So I understand the problem we have, and I think I stated a part of that earlier, that we don't have enough businesses that will want to come knocking at your doors. But you go knocking at their doors. You can offer businesses ideas, give them some test runs, and they will see the results and they will come back. You know, give them an introductory price, lower price, and they will come back after they see the results. Um, it's a challenge. I understand that. But it's a challenge that you must have to deal with because having people pay you before they can be on television or radio is not it's not professional. That's not professionalism. I was not trained that way. You see, but yet I succeed, and stations in the United States succeed. I mean, you live there. You know what I'm talking about, Stanton. So we need basically to work a little harder and think a little smarter and present ideas. For instance, you go to a store that sells construction equipment and you say, okay, we want to do a profile on you. We have one of our newspapers just do a profile on you as part of the advertising package.
Correct.
But you separate that from the profile. The commercials must be 30 seconds and produced, or I don't know how long your commercials are, but they must be separate. In a commercial, you call to action, you use descriptive adjectives, you use comparative adjectives also, and you list pricing and location. Well, you cannot don't put that in a profile because then that becomes a commercial advertising for the business. What you do is you simply have one of your correspondents, reporters, write and do a little piece, 3 minutes on this company as part of the advertising package. But that's a separate deal. You know, that's one little sneaky way to do it. Okay? It's a sneaky way to do it. But it works. And then you get an advertising buy and you run those commercials for X number of weeks, a month, or whatever deal you work out. Very simple. And you can come up with ideas for the Ministry of Education. How about them? Or the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Health. Proposals for them that will come up with ideas, presenting them ideas that will help educate the public. We're talking about the educational part of broadcasting. You go to the health ministry and say, how about some health tips? Or how about some clean water tips? I mean, these are things I've done. How about the Commerce Ministry? How about how to sell? I don't know what they do over there, but how to sell your products locally in the marketplace. Give some tips to the market people or the stores or whatever other company you're dealing with. But broadcasting sales also comes with ideas, and you must be full of those ideas. Some may fail, others will greatly succeed. Trust me, these are things that I do all the time.
How do you describe folks listening to you? The one, please, if you can answer the question, how do you describe journalists who turn into propagandists since we're getting into election season?
Okay, good. Then they don't need to be journalists because they're destroying their credibility, the trust that people had in them. You see, if you see a person who you respect as a journalist becoming a propagandist, then you don't need to hire that person back into journalism, because journalism is a respected career. Propaganda are made of lies. You know that. Twisted facts. And as Donald Trump calls it, alternative facts. So we don't want the two mixing up. The people of Liberia want the facts. They want answers. They don't want twisted facts. So if you have a propaganda representative of a person, especially a politician, then you introduce that person as that, and keep the news separate from that person. Separate the two. News must be news. It must be balanced. It must be credible, trusted, and what you say must be your word as a journalist. What do you report? And if you get it from a source, I always say protect your source. No matter if you have to go to jail to protect that source, protect that source. Because that source will have probably more stuff for you, or you may develop other sources that will make you a very, very proud and profitable journalist.
I know you follow what is happening in the country. Less than 1 year to go to election. How do you think the media are going to fit in? You think folks will count on the media as credible? Because we talk about the pay to play, protecting your sources, conflict when it comes to businesses. How credible you think the media will be? What you know now, you in Liberia, in covering the election?
Well, it depends on how they handle the stories. They have to handle the stories, as I said again, honestly and truthfully, and report both sides of the story, of any story. You cannot favor one side over the other. If one side screws up, you report it as that. And don't be afraid to report the news. This is the fourth estate we're talking about. And it's a branch that the people depend upon for information, a branch that they depend upon for everything they hear. And that's why we have freedom of expression in Liberia. We must also protect that. Nobody should mess with the freedom of press in Liberia. I'm telling you, defend it, uphold it, and don't allow anyone, no idiot, should mess with it, because you'll be defeating democracy. Freedom of press and democracy go hand in hand. And we need to always remember that. And so if reporters want to switch sides and be paid and sell their souls, that's their problem. But mark them, remember them, because you, Stanton, don't want them as part of your station, because they've destroyed their credibility, the trust that the public has in them. That's what happens. If they establish a reputation of that type for themselves, you don't want them around your station or your newspaper. I mean, that's why we need a communications regulatory commission in Liberia, like the FCC we have in the United States. A regulatory commission can help guide that process. So, something to think about, Liberia.
We want to say we are listening to Victor Hockstrom. We want to say we are so glad to have you on our set. Let me bring you, Rufus. I see you nodding your head. You have a couple of questions?
Well, I just want to sit back and get all of the knowledge. He's just giving a lot of knowledge to me, and trust me, it's a help for our own institution because you have one person of this kind giving us free education, and I want to encourage young journalists to actually take up the time to and listen and learn from what he's saying because, mind you, the trend journalism is taking, and like he struck the point where the pay for stuff, come on, a lot of our young friends going that way. They have forgotten their own integrity. That's why a newsmaker will say, "Oh my man, just do this thing for me." What if that newsmaker is giving false information? What becomes of your own integrity as a journalist? You're so out.
Exactly. Correct.
So you need to take into consideration your own integrity. There is
All right.
life after the profession.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You heard the man.
Go ahead, Mr. Hockstrom.
I didn't hear your question, Stanton.
No, I said you can go ahead. I mean, just to add to
Oh,
what Rufus said.
oh yeah. Thank you. I was going to say you heard him. He's exactly correct. There is life, and after if you were to, as a journalist, refuse to take money from someone to make that person look good, trust me, you're doing yourself a favor as a journalist. Yeah, I've heard about all these new journalists wanting to collect money under the table to make someone look good. And managers, you need to watch that because your station is being destroyed. The reputation of your station is being destroyed. It is going down the tube when you don't know that your staff is doing something like this, and it happens, and it will happen over and over, and pretty soon it will come to bite you, and you don't want that.
So, what was the difference when you have someone on the team? Because it's very important. A lot of network, radio station, talk show programs in Liberia on social media, well, belong to this political party, opposition, imposition, or no position. They want to defend the party. They want to protect their interests. What say you? Should they be allowed to be part of a network then, when they have declared their affiliations?
Uh, if it's the party, I mean, that happens everywhere. They're defending what they believe in, what they think is good for them. That's freedom of expression. That's what makes Liberia go round. It's the ability to express yourself and your views as long as you are not destroying someone else. And by that I mean, there are laws against slandering or libel, and we have to protect against those too. But freedom of expression is so important, it's so key. And that's why we have a democracy. And that's why you must use the opportunity, but not abuse it. The rights of one person ends where the rights of another person begins. So we all have to remember that always. Respect each other, trust each other will be a good thing to do, but that's hard to do anywhere. The Republicans don't trust the Democrats in the U.S. The Democrats don't trust the Republicans. So why should we expect other partisans to respect and trust their opponents in Liberia or anywhere else. But the key here is we just need to agree to disagree respectfully, and that is the key. Are we
You are in
prepared to do that?
Yeah, thank you, thank you. You are in Liberia, so I mean, are you just
Well,
visiting, or you have plans?
I
And
can, yeah. Well, I just finished up this new building for my station and had 4 or 5 days of open house. Hundreds of people came through to see their station uh, and to see the new facility because people had gone through the old building and they just knew where the operations were, and now we moved into this wonderful facility. So they came in, but it took a lot of work. It took a lot of planning, and so I decided I'll take a break and get away from it all. Or I have a beautiful office and all that, but that's not going to keep me to overwork myself, you know. And so I decided to come home. But I came home because, too, I've been thinking about Liberia. I've gotten a lot of calls about Liberia, especially when this article came out back in, I think, May, when I was described as the turnaround CEO. The turnaround CEO. People were asking me the question, don't you think Liberia could use a turnaround CEO? And I said, yeah, any place could use a turnaround CEO, a turnaround person to help make things better. And people have been encouraging me to just come home and take a look and see if I'll be interested in returning to help make a difference for Liberia. And I have considered that and thought to come home and just talk to people and survey the situation. And it's been interesting, I must say. But
different
yes,
in
that's
which
why I'm
area?
home. Because I
Which
have
area?
a vision for Liberia. I have a vision, I have a dream, and I want to help make a difference for the people of this country, for broadcasters, for working people, for businesses, for improvements. I have that dream, that vision for this country, and I know I can make a difference.
Wow, it's good to have you, man. It's very, very important. Oh, so
Thank
how
you.
different are you? I mean, I know you're going to be coming back to the state, uh, putting things together. And how do you look at our country election as we get less than a year to go?
Yeah, my vision is long term
Okay.
because there's no need. I don't have the time to come home unless whoever wins wants to talk to me and make me an offer. I will consider it. Sometimes I get introduced at places, especially in Liberia, and they see that CV of mine that you have, I think, in front of you, or they read the one-page bio, and it just sometimes pains me that there's nothing they can say about me in Liberia. It kind of disappoints me because here I am making all these contributions to a great nation, helping making it greater. And my poor country, with struggling people, hungry people, homeless people, struggling, don't have places, no jobs, no decent schools, great health care, excellent roads and highways. Agriculture is creeping, not taking off. I mean, I'm telling you, I could help work with the media in helping make our country a better place. I told you about the educational part of the media. That would be a very excellent area to begin with. I want to be the darling of the media in this country because I will guide you all, not, and you'll be assured that you have your freedom of expression. Nobody will mess with the media in Liberia. I'm telling you, nobody, no idiot will dare do that. Um, I just want to, that vision is for the long term, and I hope that it will become a reality because I'm ready to return to my country. I have done more than plenty in the United States. Money is not my issue. I'm not looking to get rich in Liberia. I'm just looking to make a difference, to see happy families, highly educated students. Look, in my new television station that I just finished, we have a whole section called a Discovery Education and Discovery Center. The emphasis is for STEAM education, not STEM, STEAM. Science, technology, engineering, that's the E, A, arts, and math. STEAM. And it's free to the public, and they come every day. School tours come in. They come in and have a wonderful time. The parents sometimes bring their children, and they seem to enjoy the place more than the kids do. That's part of the educational process we offer, in addition to our children's programming. We have a whole channel dedicated to children's programming 24/7. All of our channels are broadcast 24/7. And so, you know, yes, I've been working in broadcasting, but I also have a background in international relations and political science. And I do politics all the time in my work. You do too. I meet with the city council. I meet with the county commissioners. I meet with several city councils. I meet with state representatives. I go to Topeka, and in every every state I've lived in, I've always gone to the state capital to take care of some business, like a lobbyist would do. I go to Washington all the time. I meet with my senators, my representatives. They all know me. So, why am I not bringing this talent to my own country? We need to think about that. I am on the side of the Liberian people, want to give them a good life, a good living, better pay, jobs, more jobs. And I have ideas to represent everything I'm saying. If you were to ask me a tough question about how would you resolve XYZ, I believe I have the answer to your question. Because I've thought about this so long, especially when people began calling me. I've prayed about it. I'm a Christian, I'm a God-fearing person. My goal is to not hurt people, but to make people happy, to help people, make their lives better. That's why I'm in public broadcasting. I want to make lives better. And people can learn and enjoy great programming and have a pleasant lifestyle through our services.
Let me just ask you this concerning the Liberia Telecommunication Corporation, LTA, the telecommunication. Do you think they are overbearing? Do you think that you can also talk about MICA, the information ministry, that part of the government? What are your thoughts? Do you think the restriction or no restriction is an issue for the media folks in the country?
I haven't dealt with Liberian Telecommunications, because I have no need to. I don't know what to do, but I proposed to former President Ellen Johnson the establishment of a communications regulatory commission. And I also demonstrated in my proposal how that commission will become self sufficient without depending on the government, but rather making money for the government. I proposed a tourism uh, operation in the country too, with the same principle of making money for the government. I proposed the conversion of ELBC TV to high definition. When I was told that when she told me that it was, she was told it would be $108 million to convert ELBC TV. I went back home and got my engineer, took the map of Liberia, and I said, I want to turn ELBC TV in Liberia into a network, the most powerful network in the country, station that is, which would be a network. And that means high definition, with each county having a substation, its own small station, to broadcast radio and television programs fed by ELBC TV, or now called the Liberian National Television, or whatever it's called. Transmitters were all over the country, and ELBC TV would be transmitting like the NBC network or ABC or
Right.
CBS. Similar principle. And I also showed how they would become self sufficient with the remodeling of the ELBC headquarters. And we were going to give 2 hours a day to each county station for the local programming. And the total cost was about $36 million for the whole country. Man, that thing didn't even get picked up in a lay down. No response. Not even thank you, dog. So that was the end of that story. 3 proposals, not even an acknowledgement. But LTA, Liberian Telecommunications, whatever it's called, I have not dealt with them, so I don't know. Broadcasting, we need a regulatory commission in this country. We need to really, really focus on and emphasize services, rules. And when you look around Monrovia, you see all these towers all over the country, all these towers all over the place. I mean, that destroys the aesthetics of the city. Well, not that it's so beautiful as it stands right now, but adding towers all over the place, and towers, that broadcast towers emit radiation. When you put them in communities, the people don't know this, but they emit radiation, and the radiation gives cancer to people. That is why in certain parts, I have to go back to the United States because that's what I'm accustomed to. San Francisco has Tower Hill, all the towers, one location. Other places keep all the towers in certain areas, not all over the place, or not in communities. You see them in the bushes way out there. And so those kinds of things need to be looked at very carefully in this country. It may be too late for some, but I'm sure there will be more future towers being built. But that's why we need that regulatory commission. And it's for newspapers and broadcasting and maybe social media now and internet.
Have you spoken to anyone for the past 5 years in this government about your vision, your goals?
Not really. No, as you said, and I'm assuming they don't know me, don't know about what I do, which is a shame because, I don't go about tooting my own horn as some people do, I mean, I know what I do. I know who I am. But governments should know who their citizens are and what they're doing. That's what governments should be doing. If you're really serious about attracting qualified people, you will find out who's doing what abroad and and at least know about them. If you don't want to attract them. When the late Talbot was president, I know he sent me a letter once inviting me to return home. And I had just started my career, and I said, "Oh no, it's a little too early. I couldn't do that," so I didn't. But the rest with him is history. But no, I have not to answer your question most directly. I have
Have
not
you shared
discussed.
have you shared this vision with any of the other candidates running to become president? Cummings, Walker, Tewan, Simon Freeman, Mandela Cooper. Have you spoken to any of them?
No, no, because I didn't come here to reach to them. If they want me, I feel they can contact me. I mean, that's how I feel about it. Uh, if they feel I have something to offer, I may have nothing to offer them. They may not even consider me to be a person that they may want around them. And that's fine with me too. But my vision for this country, one way or another, will be carried out. It may not be this next election, but I'm looking at the big picture.
When you spoke to Madam Salif and you gave her your proposal, from 100 and something million dollars, you brought it down to 36 M. Uh, were you asking the government of Liberia to make available the 36 million, or you were proposing other means?
I was simply sending her a proposal, telling her what it will cost. And I said I would be delighted to come and oversee it if I need it. Now, where the money was coming from, I don't know. Where the 108 million was coming from, I don't know. The original 108,
Correct.
but I do know that it was ridiculously high and unnecessary to get the job done effectively.
How do you look at the education system in the country when you talk about broadcasting, journalism? Have you visited any of those university colleges, and have you
Well,
inquired
I was
concerning the
origin-
standard?
I was ori- yeah, I was originally scheduled to be here on the 15th of September, but that flight got canceled. You all know about that, Brussels, last month. And had I come, I would have. I was scheduled to do two 2-hour lectures at the university to the communication school. Um, I was also scheduled to speak to the Rotary Club of Singal, but I did not because the schedule got messed up. And but it may still happen via Zoom or some other means. But the university was canceled because they were in exams when I arrived, and schools graduations taking place at schools closed. So that's out of the picture. I'll be happy to help anytime. Um, I I have teaching skills. I taught at California State, and I remember receiving this result of the student survey in my from the dean of the School of Communications to my office, the television station. I didn't make much of it. I saw it, I looked at it, I didn't even pay attention to it. Then he called me and he said, "Did you get the survey results I sent you?" I said, "I received something, but I didn't quite pay too much attention to it." I said, "Tell me about it." He said, "It was one of the best student survey results we have seen, and I'd like for you to continue to teach at the adjunct level." I said, "No problem." But I left and took a bigger job in Chattanooga, and so that was the end of that rigmarole. But no, I'll be happy to help in any way I can because Liberia is always on my mind,
Do
and
you think,
Liberia is
Selene,
my.
and you see, with that mindset, we are so blessed to even have this program today. Uh, Folks listen to you. You know, I came into this business just by way of COVID. But I believe and trust that one way or the other, my help and contribution to the country would be as far as I believe. And this is where we are discussing media or journalism and everything else, how to help Liberia be better. Have
Mhm.
you thought of, inviting folks, young men and women, helping them to come for further training here in the United States? Have you done that?
Repeat the question. I don't think you're breaking up, Stanton.
Have you invited young men and women to come for further training in journalism? I mean, you've been working all over from Kansas, Chicago, Utah. Do you think it would be one of the best thing to help, since we are looking at the long term, but for the short term, you open workshop, seminars, and in service in them? Do you think it would be one of the idea out there to improve your working skills?
I'd be happy to do that. Yes, I have not done it, but I'll be very happy to do that. It's cheaper to do it, to come home to do it, than to have
Correct.
students come over to do it, because hotels, expenses, flights, food, transportation, all of those things come into play. And we don't have a program at my station for that purpose. But if students on their own wanted to come and do that, we'd take interns from other universities. We have a few high school interns who come to the station, and they spend about 3 months, 4 months. College interns spend sometimes 6 months, and we end up sometimes hiring some of them. Our social media director right now is a recent college graduate who interned with us, and we liked her work. And she did a great job for us, so we hired her. She's on the team. So, anyway, what it comes down to is I'll be happy to anytime conduct seminars and workshops in schools in Liberia. And if there are people and organizations who want to put a group together to come to my station and do and practice or learn, we'll put them to work. Trust me, I'll be happy to do that too.
And the reason why I'm asking the question, Mr. Huckstrom, is that yeah, when I call you and Mr. Jackson, you say, "Well, call me Victor." It just I won't do this. I call you Victor on the show. I would say Mr. Huckstrom. So please consider me. Uh, we are going towards election, less than a year now. We need, you know, credible men and women uh, to help
I
with the
agree.
election within the media space, because it will be very important to do so. I believe that your vision, your goal, will be after the election. It, so if we can, I mean, I'm not only speaking about Spoon Network. I'm speaking about creating something that you can be of greater help. Rufus is in
Mm.
this station. If you say, Rufus, go to that polling station, report from Limba, report from Grand Bassett, they need to know exactly what they are reporting on. Because what we learn from senatorial by elections, sometimes politicians go and just swerve them off. Say this one, do this, and it's scary. So if we can build that relationship to help them from every network in the country, and I hope that you can look in that direction. But it is very important that we do that for the young men and women. That's my passion. That's my passion, Mr. Oxford. I want them to get out of
What?
Liberia to experience the Western media
Ah,
culture.
okay. So, do you have um, a program for that with a budget for that?
That we can discuss. As you see, James appear on the show. I think he's in the bag. He just left Liberia. He's in Europe, where he
Hmm.
under the network, going to school, learning, from the European media, system, that he can help Liberia one day go back and be more credible. So we have a program, and we will discuss this. And I hope other folks out there listen to us can join us to help. What you make of the PUL, Press Union of Liberia? What you make of them? Have you followed through with the PUL?
I have not met with them. You're the second person asking me that question. Again, as I've said, if the media were on, if the members of the media were on their toes, they should know who's coming into the country. When someone goes into Kansas, Wichita especially, we know who's there because we're on our toes. That's what journalism is all about, to stay informed and to have your sources. I mean, I wouldn't go pick up my phone and say, "Hey, Rock and Roll FM, Victor Hawkstrom is in town. You know, I'm this and that and the other." People think I'm crazy. I mean, at least I would think that somebody's crazy who calls me with that. I want to be on your show. I am a little too reserved for that. So we need to stay on top of things. We need to have our contact books. We need to stay in touch. Journalists usually stay in touch with people, call people. What's developing? Is there a follow-up story to the last one I reported? Is there some other angle? Those are the role. That's the role of a journalist. Writing skills, reporting skills, broadcast skills. Those are all things that, and I'll be happy to help in any way I can. If it means coming back to do it, I have plenty of vacation time. Trust me, I get about 2 months. Yeah, I do. I get about 2 months vacation out of the year, and if I want more, they will give it to me. But anytime, I'll be happy to come home and help. Or if you want to send students over or staff over, I'll have our executive producer, Jim Grayway is his name. Excellent guy. We have some excellent reporters and staff members, and they'll be happy to work with them. Like I said, we have students that come in from other universities and other places. And it's free.
That's
free
great.
is good sometimes.
That's great. That's great. And I know definitely we spoke before. We will speak again.
All right.
Mr. Sam Jackson, I want to be grateful to him, our own Samuel Jackson, for connecting Mr. Hawkstrom and I, bringing him on the program. All of you guys that are following us, if you have any further question, because we have about 7 minutes to go into the program. If you do have any other question, we will take your question. You are listening to Mr. Victor Hawkstrom, President, CEO, PBS, Kansas, Utah, everywhere in America. You make a great impact to the folks here in the country. But he's a Liberian. And that's the magic thing about this. He's a Liberian and he coming back, he want to give back to the country. Rufus, can you open the phone line for the next 6 minutes now? Let's give the folks a chance to ask their question or make their comments.
Form part of this discussion by calling the following numbers: 0777 771075, 0555 101075 are the numbers to call. Please be moderate. 0777 771075, 0555 101075. Good evening.
Good evening, Rufus.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for helping me with this and providing this 11 o'clock of media practitioner in Liberia, a lecturer of communication in Liberia. These kind of discussions are essential to our young journalists coming in Liberia. The guests provided a number of education for some of us. I think this kind of is necessary to sharpen the minds of young journalists, to educate them, because the media training in Liberia, when it comes to reportage, That's why he said the issue of honesty, integrity in your work. Some of these things are lacking in Liberia. So everyday discussion on radio stations can help a lot. I want to sit in the classroom doing that, but everyday discussion, so that 30 minutes program, 45 minutes program on radio, the journalism, the practical aspect of journalism, what journalism deals. Because most people have different interpretations for journalism. You feel that what you hear on radio is journalism. It's not that way. Journalism is a professional course, very critical. And it takes more experience, it takes more commitment to do journalism. So I'd like to appreciate guests, and if he in Liberia for a long time, I know you have audience with him. We'll try to connect with you, so there's like a meeting, so we can talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edwin. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
My name is Dara Williams Moore, calling from Wheeler, Magidi County.
Yes, yeah.
I would like to say thanks to the guest, the CEO. I admire the presentation. There are so many things the CEO posed to him that many people did not know him. But my experience and expectation from him that he should have made those guys try to organize a team and rather educate them in the process. The age of him and the younger people that journalists now don't know him. So he needs to make people to know him. So this is my recommendation to him. Although it is too late for him now, but to make a schedule at your radio station like Spoon FM, one-to-one with the CEO to organize this. So many of the journalists will be listening to him, especially as we are reaching to the election. A frustration in the country, like many of the hosts to most of those radio stations, is very bad. As the guest is saying on the radio, those guys will go on the radio station, say things that is not on the agenda. And especially like when it comes to Spoon FM, like the representative Yeke Kolba. This is a guy always approach on the radio in that negative form, insulting. As the guest is saying on the radio, that is I would get rid of it. Insulting leaders. Go to the point. Go to the issue.
Thank you.
Be direct to your point. Discuss the issue. So these are things that really I will appreciate if we try to organize to be discussing on Spoon FM one-to-one with the CEO, so we all will be listening to him. I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
That's
0777-77-1075 other numbers to call. Good evening.
I got somebody.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
There it is. That's in Pogba.
Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, we before last, I won only.
Oh, Chief, we're not talking that.
We coming back. You will be back by 9 p.m. Musa, my friend, we will open the phone line 9 p.m. for God can bless anyone. But right now we are doing the one-on-one with Mr. Victor Hockstrom. Let me bring in Musa Keita. Musa, where are you calling from?
All right, thank you, CEO. Musa Keita calling from Minnesota. Listening to the guests today has given me different knowledge and different experience regarding the media. But all in all, to conclude on this matter, not to take your time, CEO, I would like for you to organize a meet and greet between freelancers or Liberian journalists and the veteran journalists there in studio to have an interaction so there can be a workshop so the best way he can transfer his knowledge, his vast knowledge to people like Spoon and other media outlets in Liberia. I would appreciate that you want to take that initiative if you can. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Musa. Thank you for your call. Can you take 2 more calls if you can? And we can get back to Mr. Hockstrom, please.
Good evening. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
My name is
F. Turuku Daniel, and I'm calling you from district number 10. Thanks to the zero just there. And to the last caller, whom they now open the station for you to come to call Honorable Yaka Kulba on Spoon. I'm telling you, talk about the guests in studio. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's the way of politics. Take the last call. Take the last call, please.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Let me appreciate you for this platform, and let me appreciate your guests. My name is Armand Coach Bandebe, and I joined the conversation from District 15. We are all discussing about bringing forth an idea to ensure that we better this country. So listen to him. He spoke very well, and some of those points that was made by him are points that needs to be taken into serious consideration, are points that we need to grab and ensure that we implement them for the betterment of our country. But again, there was a question that was asked him by the CEO. A response was not favorable to me, because the thing is, when you want to transform your country, it's not about who is reaching out to you, but rather, you yourself should make an effort in ensuring that you reach out so that you contribute your ideas in ensuring that we transform this country. So I heard him responding to the CEO's question by saying, because the government did not reach out to him, so he himself equally did not reach out to the government. Because the opposition did not reach out to him, he himself did not equally reach out to the opposition. He even went as far as informing us that because the PEO did not reach out to him, he himself did not reach out. The thing is not about trying to, let's say, make it appear like everybody should reach out to you. Let's agree that, the government is supposed to reach out because the government is clearly responsible to ensuring that it's packed their best so they can bring forth the idea to transform the country. But in an event where the government renege on that portion, as a good and patriotic citizen who means well for his or her country, there is nothing wrong with you reaching out. Just try to make that point.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. But first, let's go now to Mr. Huxton.
Well, thank you. When you reach out to the president of a nation, the very top, and you get no response, what do you expect? Nothing. You get silence. Can't keep trying. And I must also say that Legend Hood Rennie knows me very well. He knows about me. He knows me. I've met him. So here's another case, the information ministry. And I think I was asked about the information ministry, and I don't think I answered that question, Stanton. To me, the role of the information ministry is not to interpret the policies of the president or the government nationally. The information ministry, in my opinion, has an international purpose. When there's something going on in Liberia, their job is to help the world understand what is going on in this country. Not be the spokesperson for the president. That's the job of the press secretary. They're the ones who do that kind of thing. So I remembered that, and I forgot that I didn't answer that. But coming back to the last caller, when you reach out to the top of the heap and you get no response, there's not much you can do about it. And I'm a busy man, very busy, I might add. And especially lately, I've been very busy trying to move a station, establish an ATSC 3.0 network, plus all of the other things that I have to do, manage the finances, make sure it's flowing in, and all those things that make the station work well. Because when the day comes to pay the staff, they expect their paychecks to be in the bank. And that's my responsibility and my job. So busy schedule sometimes would not permit me to always reach out. But again, as I said, I'm available to help the country in any way I can. And if people were to contact me, Give me the opportunity, and I will do it for them. No problem.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huckstrom. Just one last question from the managing director at Spoon, Madam Titi Cannon. How social
Mhm.
media impacts journalism?
Oh, I think it has that immediacy to journalism. Um, when you have to wait for the news on a certain hour or during a certain hour of the day, and then or the print issue of the news, the newspaper, that makes it challenging when you have social media putting out the news and the website putting out the news in its currency. So it makes a big difference. But the two work hand in hand together. I've discovered that social media and if a business is promoting itself and its social media sites, they seem to do very well on television. If you promote yourself on television or the radio, and you um, announce or promote your social media site, you get a lot of hits. So I've seen that works well. But when it comes to the news, I do not believe that the news in its current form with print and news on the hour can compete with social media that constantly updates the news. I mean, if they're doing their job in social media in Liberia correctly, the news will be constantly updated every time. Within the hour, on the hour, several times a day, you can read the latest update about the same story. And that doesn't happen in broadcasting or in print because they have to wait until print will have to wait until the next day to really get the news out, the updated version of the news. And broadcasting, we have to wait for the newscast to come on to do the same thing. But social media is on top of it.
Mr. Victor Huckstrom, we want to say thank you and many thanks to Samuel Jackson for the introduction and the connection. But again, this is Spoon Network, Fabric, Super. This is Liberia. The conversation is about Liberia and the way forward when we talk about media networks in the country, journalism, good, bad, and ugly. Because indeed, you do have some ugly journalism out there. We have, and
Mm-hmm.
we pray to get better. We want to say thank you very much. So, you have anything else to say? Just real quick, this is not politics. You are not in politics in Liberia. That's not what you're in the country for. Because he said you have not spoken to any of the candidates, not the president. But I just want us to be very clear. Folks need to understand you are visiting, you have taken a vacation, and you went back to your home country to visit.
Right. And it's a pleasure to be back home. I've enjoyed my time here and I look forward to coming back. I look forward to helping, making some contribution to this country in one form or another. And, y'all call me if you need some assistance, some advice. Please don't hesitate. I'm the president and CEO of PBS Kansas in Wichita, and I'm sure you can find that number very easily. It's on the website, kpts.org, or you can tune in and check me out on One with Victor Hawkstrom and see some of the interviews that I do.
So you're
And
going to do
it's
a
great.
one-on-one. So you will take the city one day before you leave, do a one-on-one in studio. Not from me, but maybe you can host somebody because I've been following your one-on-one on YouTube and the other social media. It's very interesting. You ask some hard
Well,
question there.
I do. I do. And you can tell when they don't have answers because they are saying, "Oh, that's a good question," and they buy time trying to think of something to say. And but no, I enjoy. As I said, I was a reporter once. I was a reporter and a news anchor and a news director, and before I moved into management, and I think I enjoy management better. I got tired chasing after stories and putting microphones in people's faces because it was hard work, honest work, and it's something that I enjoyed, but I think management pays better too.
And
Yeah.
that's well, how's the family? I also heard about your sons, and they're doing extremely well.
Thank you. I have two boys. I have more than two boys, but the twins I think you're referring to,
Correct.
they are 28 years old, and they are very popular on TikTok. They're known as Twin Doctors J. Twin Doctors J. And have over 2 million followers, and they get paid to do what they do on TikTok. They are medical doctors too, and they work for the Memorial Hospital in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They're both internists, internal medicine, and working for the same hospital, went to the same medical school. I'm proud to say that I won custody of them when I divorced my ex-wife, their mother, and won custody of them when they were 5 months old. And I raised them by myself. It was tough because I was running a television company and doing that. But when the going gets tough, the tough gets
So
going.
get going. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So we wish them well. And
Yes.
someone also want to ask you, where in Liberia are you from? Because you said the civilized crew. Are you from where? Which country?
I'm from Monrovia.
Okay.
I was raised born in Monrovia. My mother was from Sasstown, the
Sasstown, all
Sasstown
right.
crew. My father came here to work from New Jersey. The last name is Hawkstrom, which is a Swedish last name. But my great grandparents, as I was told, went to the United States from Sweden, and then my father joined in the Navy, and then from the Navy he came to work for LMC, and also work on. Do you know a guy called Tutman, President Tutman? Have you heard of him?
Correct. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. He worked on Tutman's yacht as an engineer too, because he didn't have one, and so he asked my father to do it, and he did it. And I attended the University of Liberia for one semester, and after that, graduated from Latkery. After that, we moved back to the United States because I needed to go to college to become what I thought I wanted to be, until Mrs. Emma Jane Collins got into my life.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. And I think God sent her, and I appreciated that message. I have no regrets, as I've said, changing my mind of what I wanted to be. It's been great.
Having you next time would discuss more about Liberia, but I want to say thank you very much for giving Spoon the time to have you on one-on-one with the CEO to discuss issue concerning Liberia. When we talk about the media, and also knowing you better, a lot of folks now will know who is Mr. Victor A. Hopstrom. They called it in. We just can take more calls, but I want to say thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
That's Victor Alex Chia. That's my name. Alex Chia Hawkstrom. That's the crew name. Thank you, and I think you've done a marvelous. I hear a lot about what you've done here with the station, and congratulations. I'm proud of you. It's a great effort. It will be taken to the next level, I'm very sure. So keep it up.
With you, it will. I want to say thank you a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thanks. Folks, there you have it, Mr. Victor A. Hawkstrom, PBS Cancer. We are glad to have him. As always, thank you for joining us every Sunday, one-on-one with the CEO. Please, don't you leave. We will be having God Can Bless Anyone. I know you are calling. You need to win some money. We will ask you Bible questions. And Rufus, alongside with Pastor Raymond Carlson, will be here to do the next segment. We want to say God bless you. God keep you. Don't forget, join us tomorrow with Spoon Talk. We have everyone coming, talking politics. Again, be safe and be blessed. Have a good night. Thank you.
Yes, I, a special one from the CEO, Stanton with the spoon. And your boy, Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
To get your information.
James, a reservoir of knowledge we got actually. And on this note, you have anything to say, James?
Let me come back very quick, Rufus. I decided to come back because it's important. And I hope we all take advantage of an opportunity coming our way, especially Liberia. It's a great opportunity. He's a good man. He is a good man. Go back and read about him. Follow him. He's a very decent man. And I think, apart from politics, I would say to you, we pray to work along with him. And I will encourage other media outlets, to join in this effort. You Rufus, folks, young men and women that walk under the rain and travel and take pen, keke, hungry, going to school to be a journalist. We all can help to make Liberia better if we embrace this opportunity. It's a great opportunity. And everyone that listened to this program tonight, or that will be going back to listen to it, you are at the right place, the right time, and want to encourage you. Embrace this opportunity. Mr. Victor Hawkstrom will do wonders in Liberia. He have done it here in America, in Utah, Kansas, and other places in the United States. Florida, trust me, they know how to make it happen. Just work along, join us, that we can make Liberia better the best way we can. And I'm telling you guys, spread the word. I will be talking to him. I will be speaking to him, that we can find a way to get everyone involved. It's not because of the $50, the $100 you get on the side. No, it's because of integrity, credibility, and doing the right thing to make Liberia better. I want to say I'm grateful for him joining us tonight to make this a wonderful program. Rufus, thank you. Good day. I want to say thank you also. You guys have a wonderful evening. Good night.
James, what's happening? Speechless?
Don't get blessed about it.
Yeah, so let's go off and return.
I'm reading. All right.
Let's go off and return. So, folks, it was.
First, I'm not coming on.
Yeah, Pastor Raymond.
Yeah, so when you get here, let me know.
Yeah, okay.
Tell you what is happening
in union, strong success is sure. With God above our rights to prove, we over all prevail. With hearts and hands, our country cause defending. We meet the foe with valor and pretending.
Africa.
I've been here as your sound coordinator. The name is Rufus Divine Cunning. Have a wonderful and a pleasant night. Bye-bye on the program.
You want to get a news update, my brother, Tunto Spoon.